This is Xenophobe on the Atari 7800, and this game gets the award for the most depressing music ever. The music just makes you want to jump off a bridge. And so do the controls in this game. In fact, there's many things wrong with Xenophobe on the Atari 7800. When I think of the mighty Atari 7800 ProSystem, I think of excellent arcade conversions. Games like Ms. Pac-Man, Robotron 2084, Xevious, Joust, Galaga. Xenophobe doesn't really fit in with the rest of them. And many of us are more familiar with the NES version, which has its own share of problems, but here on Xenophobe, the major problem for the Atari version is that instead of a button for jumping, you have a button for shooting and for throwing the grenade. You jump by pushing up, which sucks. Therefore, when you're moving your character left or right around the screen, if you happen to slightly push upwards in any way, the guy jumps and he can leap into the door and knock himself down. Or when you're stooping down to collect something and then you stand back up, he'll jump. And the unhatched alien eggs look like heads of cabbage. The NES controller also only has two buttons, but one of them is a jump button, and then to throw the grenade you push down, and then I think push jump. Which is also somewhat awkward, but it's a lot better than just pushing up to jump. I talked about the arcade game Xenophobe more in my review for the Nintendo Entertainment System version. And I love the arcade game. I played the arcade Xenophobe machine many times. When they brought the game to the Nintendo, Sunsoft did the development work on that. Looks like Atari did the work here on this game at the very end of the short, non-successful lifespan of the Atari 7800. The colors are very muted. It's not a very vibrant game. The music is terrible. Graphically, there's actually some stuff in here that's done better than the Nintendo version. The weapons look a bit more interesting. It's more or less the same. You've got the one standard crappy laser gun, then you get the upgraded laser rifle, and there's the electric bolt gun, which is kind of neat, and then a fogger. And check out this glitch here. I was trying to pick up that piece of hose, and after several tries, although it was making a sound like I'd picked it up, it never actually picked it up, and then something exploded. Perhaps it was my patience with this game. Another difference between this version and the Nintendo version is that you can lose your gun in this version when you're knocked down, and then you can punch the aliens. And it's too bad they didn't get the Aliens license for this game, because if he punched an alien to death, it would have then covered him in sulfuric acid. And that would have made for a really exciting death scene. They could have been really creative with it too and have the acid drip through the top layer of the screen into the bottom layer of the screen. And if you're playing in a two-player mode, the acid could have rained down on the guy below you, dissolved him, and then gone right through the bottom of the spaceship and sucked everybody into the vacuum of space, thereby awarding you bonus points for being stupid enough to try to punch an alien in the first place. I have to admit that my favorite part of this Atari 7800 version of Xenophobe is the artwork on the cartridge and the opening title screen. I find it amusing, the busty lady with the laser rifle and the grinning alien. That's way more interesting than the Aliens knockoff for the NES cartridge. This version doesn't give you multiple characters to select like the Nintendo version. However, you can change your difficulty level. There's 4 different levels to challenge your Xenophobe skills, although you'll most likely be bored within 20 seconds of any of them. There's a bit more detail in the elevators, and then one of the big differences is that each location that you fly to is different as viewed from outer space. So you have the spaceship, then there's a planet, and then another spaceship, some sort of space station, and then my favorite, the Death Star. Not only is the Death Star overrun with stormtroopers and those little remote-controlled droids that drive in circles, but now it is overrun with Xenos that you must eliminate. There's far better games out there for the Atari 7800, and Xenophobe is not a very common game, so this will actually cost you a couple bucks to find this game cartridge. So it's really only for collectors at this point. If you want to play Xenophobe the way that it was meant to be played, find one of the original Xenophobe arcade machines, because it's an excellent game, which was a 3-player machine and really cool.